really it tells us that this person is still not out of danger, is still not out of the risk of harming himself or taking his life. He's considered very high risk, and immediate action should be taken. Thankfully, I am in Kumasi, so I'm going to team up with my colleagues, and we'll see how to support him.
But in this note, he said to have reached out to some personalities trying to get some attention. Some of them paid no heed to his call. Others also wanted to meet him ahead of time. What would be the reason why, for someone who wants to take his life, he would want to reach out to people? Is it because he needs help? What exactly would be the reason?
Again, this is very typical of all suicide and suicide attempts. Any suicide, in fact, for almost every suicide that happens, it is a cry for help. And people use or resort to suicide because they feel that is the only way out of their problem. And that is why we keep saying that if we offer them alternative ways, they will not take their life. And they feel that, look, I have tried everything. I've tried to get help, but this is the last opportunity for me to escape whatever is bothering me. And this signifies that this person is actually crying out for help. It paints a picture of how much he is at his wit's end and how much he needs the support. And it's evident in his notes that he has actually attempted to get.
Are you there, Doc? Dr. Ruth, are you there? Okay, well, we'll see if we can get her back on the line. Dr. Ruth Owusu-Antwi.
On your last question to Doc, I've been in deep thought about this very thing, and I'm just grateful that it didn't go through. It wasn't successful, and he's still alive. But you see, it's something that I've been advocating for and talking about all the time. Okay, let's Doc continue.
Yeah, Doc is back. Okay, Doc, sorry, we lost you on the line there.
Yes, sorry about that. I'm back on.
Okay. Well, so another question that I would want to ask you then is, there was something specific that he said in his note, that it's time we pay close attention to the mental health of students at KNUST. I'll go back to some incidents that happened at KNUST where some students, unfortunately, committed suicide. Back in February 2017, we're told that an 18-year-old first-year chemical engineering student at KNUST also took her life. She hanged herself with a rope over the ceiling fan, and we were told that it was because allegedly she was trailing her course. She's not the only one. In 2021 as well, another incident occurred where we're told that a KNUST student committed suicide allegedly after betting and losing his last 60,000 as well. So these are some issues that have occurred, and this young man is saying that it's time that we pay attention to the mental health of these students on campus. Clearly, he is leading us to a particular issue here where it seems as if we've neglected the emotional health and mental health of many young people. What would you say has been, the challenge with regards to the Psychiatric Society in dealing with this problem?
So it's become difficult everywhere, all over the world, especially after the COVID. There's a lot of economic difficulties, and there's a lot of stress in people's academics, their finances, etc. And so generally, stress, which is one of the major risk factors for mental breakdown, is on the rise. And we would need to do some more education, let especially young people understand that in this world, it can't always be good. When there are bad times, you get help. We need to build their resilience. And I totally agree with him that mental health should not only be part of the courses for medical students. Unfortunately, even for him as a medical student who would receive some mental health lectures as part of their normal curriculum, it's the one going through this. But beyond just the medical training, I think that as students and early even in people's training, academic training and curriculum, we should include some topics in mental health. As early as in primary school or upper primary, we should start discussing mental health with some of these young people for them to understand, for them to know where to get help and to build their resilience. we realize that resilience generally is going down, and there are so many cases of suicide going on around the country. Just last month, we had another lecture for 10 years dying by suicide. So it's not even just the students. Adults are also struggling. And we would have to pay more attention to the warning signs of suicide. And some of them, when people become withdrawn, when people start talking about the fact that they are fed up with life, we should not take them for granted. Don't little those statements. I wish I'm gone. I wish I'm not here. And if I am not here, what happens? And so those active verbalization of stress and being tired with life and all that should all not be taken for granted. Such people should be linked up to their school counselors, their school hospitals, and talk to a counselor, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist immediately. And some of the students we deal with are doing well. I must say that the awareness creation has improved. Every now and then we get students coming together with their roommates or their colleagues saying that, look, I have seen my roommate has changed over the days. I've seen her crying through the night and all that. And we think that the awareness creation is going up, but we can still do some more.
Okay, but then there's the issue of stigmatization as well. And so how do we deal with that? Because we seem to be paying a lot of lip service. Right. Okay.
You are absolutely right. The stigma has also been a challenge. In fact, I was involved in a study we recently published where we talked to a group of health professionals who were going through a lot of stress, and we asked them, you appreciate that you are going through some challenges. Would you want to see a mental health professional? And over 70% of them said no. So you see, the stigma is still a problem, and it would take everyone to come on board to destigmatize mental health. If someone can get hypertension and they are not shy about it, someone can get heart disease and they are not shy about it. People's mental capacity is part of their entire and their whole well-being, and so we should make it easy for people to get help. I must say that again, the stigma is going down. It has hugely reduced, but we still have to do some more. Let's support people to seek mental health, and in supporting them, things like accompanying them to the psychiatric units and hospitals to see a psychiatrist is one of the ways you can tell them that, look, I'm with you, you have my support, I am not embarrassed to accompany you, you can count on me and all that. Those are some of the steps that we can show people that, look, those are for you, we support you entirely to seek some mental health.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll follow up on this matter with you later, since you said you'll try and catch up with this student in particular later today or during the weekend. So thank you so much for speaking to us, Dr. Ruth, and we'll catch up with you for some more. But that is the situation at the moment.
Yeah, it's a very, I think, sad situation. But the reality is that there are many people in Ghana who go through some of these difficulties. And it's not only peculiar to students.
Yeah.
And I think that within these times that the current state of the economy has got into a level where it's become unbearable for people, I think we need to take mental health even more seriously. And that is why for many of mental health professionals who travel outside, the first port of call by way of a job is directly to go into some level of palliative care or some kind of social work. And it means that the big countries that our big men who manage our policies, who claim that they formulate the policies and do the implementation where they travel to, sometimes even have their children having citizenship in those countries too, they take mental health seriously. So we have to ask the big men who do that, why is it that they don't take the mental health of Ghanaians so seriously as they should? Because I'm told, during the COVID, they were paying stipends or some level of money, it depends on which country, to adults who had children and are still being paid. And for even adults who were out of work, are still being given some level of stipends for not being at work. So what happens to us? And we are in a situation where, apart from you having not a raise in what you earn, even the road that you travel to that work that gives you the low stipend or earnings or wage or salary is bad. Then you're frustrated with the living conditions by way of the prices of how they are fluctuating in relation to inflation. And then also you are burdened with other problems that just don't come with any comfort at all. There's no week that passes that somebody who is better off than someone else in a family is not given a call to send Momo or not. And all of us experience that. We should ask ourselves, how are people living? And if they are living, if students are going through these difficulties, how are they going through these difficulties? And that is why we have to take mental health seriously. It is that serious.
It is.
It is that serious.
Listen, I've said it a number of times, and it's about time that we start paying attention. You know, this thing, the mobile phone, it's taking away our very immediate awareness, our very immediate environment. Look at what the boy tried to do. He tried to reach out to people outside his environment, people he thought live here, who could help him. The question I want to ask this morning is, how about his friends, his roommates, his teammates in class and all that? Did they pay attention? Did he try to speak to anybody? Did anybody really truly listen to him when he was, it's unfortunate. Did anybody really pay attention to this gentleman when he started complaining or talking about maybe courses getting too hard for him, how he cannot get by on a daily basis? There was a time I sent out a tweet and I said, when you wake up in the morning, it's not enough to only send a text message to somebody to say, how are you? And even that question has become so cliche that we're in a hurry to answer. But that question, how are you, is such an important question that we would have to start asking that question with meaning and not just because it's a greeting. We need to be able to drift from just asking how are you because we are supposed to ask, but you really care, that's what you're asking.